players. We've seen them. Let's talk about it one more time. Esopa, Flash, looks like, all right, again, you guys know what you guys are picking. I want to hear you guys kind of argue for your case. So, Rumham, we're going to start with you. Why is Flash the man to watch right now?
You know, I'm not really sure how Esopa is going to beat that Lava Hound deck. I mean, he doesn't have arrows in either deck, so the Lava Pups, Minions, Minion Horde are all going to be really strong. All 4 decks involve Inferno Towers, so you got to get around that. But Flash has a very cheap Zap, Fireball, Swarmy cards, all sorts of stuff that can overwhelm it. I can almost guarantee Flash's Lava Hound deck will pick up at least 1 win in this matchup. The question is, can Flash take it home with Expo?
Yeah,
Esopa.
I agree. I think that the really big danger for Flash right now is if he wins with his Lava Hound deck, he has to play Expo twice. And I think that Esopa is a good enough player, as we've seen. He's played Expo already in this Coronation Day. I think that Esopa's 2 decks, especially his Goblin Barrel deck, has been proved to be quite effective against Expo. He has a lot of ways to control it. Execution pending, right? I mean, that was a very close game.
Absolutely. I think what's really important, though, is that we have 2 players who are big members of the community. They're playing a lot of tournaments. Sometimes they stream, write deck strategy guides and all that. They're 2 very deserving players who have fought their way through thousands of competitors to get here. And even though I'm picking Flash for the sake of picking, both of these players are super deserving to go to the arena battles. And I think I would be happy as a member of the community to hold up either as my crown duel champion at the end.
That's good to know. I like that. You're making that way just in case Flash loses, you're good.
The matchup I think will be the most interesting to watch in my mind is how will the Lava Hound deck match up with the Hog Rider deck? Because this is a deck where you would think, okay, he plays Lava Hound, that opens up a big opportunity for the Hog Rider to come in and do a lot of damage, but at the same token, how does a Hog Rider deck stop a Lava Hound, right? You don't have the big options that really give you what you need, the firepower you need to stop. Oh my god.
He just used Zap, though. Skeleton Army.
That's a perfect choice against Goblin Barrel. It's actually an even trade, and you are putting more than enough units to protect your tower from any kind of stabbing.
We mentioned earlier how great Skeleton Army is against Miner because you just surround the tower, and no matter where the Miner pops up, there's probably a skeleton nearby.
Yes.
That is doubly true with Goblin Barrel because there's all 3 points of the goblins. The skeletons can distract all 3 of them.
I think currently Esopa needs to put a lot of focus on Princess placement if he wants to overcome the defensive capabilities of Flash. Because in that situation, the big answer is have a Princess at the bridge shooting the tower, because then it doesn't matter where you drop the Skeleton Army, it's just going to get wiped out.
Oh no, and Lava Hound goes down very early, but the Miner does pop up the tank for some of it. The question, Ooh, the Zap. You can see them trading spells. They're being very particular with their spell use because they know, especially Esopa knows, he's got to be very, very judicious with that Zap. He needs Zap to get those minions or skeleton armies off the board.
Ooh, Ops suspend Zap. Now here's the thing that I was talking about. When you play the Miner, you actually have a tank for your Goblin Barrel, so you can start playing some mind game spots with your Goblin Barrel, and I think that would have helped Esopa a lot because that Zap came down on top of Flash's tower.
He should have been watching your Arc Corner.
He should have been.
I think Esopa is really going to have to lean on Princess here in order to win this match. There are so many great Princess targets that he's going to have to pull off what he did in those earlier games where he just played a very defensive Princess and forced the opponent to sort of react in some way. Like, oh, I have to log this Princess in the middle, and that gives you great opportunities to play stuff like Goblin Barrel, Skeleton Army right after.
Very interesting choice, and I think it's paying off for Esopa in a big way. Play the Princess instead of something like a Hog Rider. I mean, kind of using it in a similar vein, right? Punishing the Lava Hound drop. And he actually gets a ton of damage, and now he turns his Inferno Tower around to deal with this Lava Hound.
I think that went way better for Flash, though.
Mind game it.
Especially when you consider that the Lava Hound just totally rode right on by the Inferno Tower. The Inferno Tower did turn around and attack it, but Esopa lost half of the remaining health on his tower.
Ooh, Fireball gets spent, and I don't know, he has to spend the Minion Horde, and that is a less than ideal card to spend, and they also get zapped. Miner gets a good amount of damage, and that's a pretty big opening for Esopa. Obviously not.
How did he guess
How in the world did he know?
How often do you see pre-fire Miners?
That was amazing.
That, I mean, I have to only imagine that these players are pulling out all their stops because that was looking into the future.
Wow. Zaps out of his hand. So that Inferno Tower is just going to work there, and there's a little bit of time left. Oh, the Skeleton Army again. I think that Esopa kind of needs to roll his log down there before the Skeleton Army shows up.
Right.
There it is, Miner. One more hit. All right, Flash is going to take that one, going 1-0 against Esopa. One game. No, this is now final, so we are best of 5. So they have to win with 3. They have to win 3 games, 2 times with one deck, 1 time with the other. They get to choose.
Unless you're really crafty and you pull out a third totally different deck.
How did you get that here?
Yeah,
and
no, you cheated.
So I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. But you're right. Both of them have the option to win twice. So now Flash has the option of playing his Lava Hound deck again, or he can switch and try to win 2 games with his Expo deck. Esopa, though, does he want to stay with Goblin Barrel and take his chances against the Expo deck with Goblin Barrel?
Okay.
I think that the line of play got very complicated, right? As we watched the game, Rumham and I were talking about things like, okay, he needs to play the Goblin Barrel with the log, or sometimes he would need to play the Miner, but then when he plays the Goblin Barrel, he needs to make sure it doesn't get zapped. And then that other time, he played the Goblin Barrel, and then the Minion Horde was played on top of it, and that's going to take down the Miner and the Goblin Barrel. And so it starts getting really complicated. And I think if there's anybody who can make it happen, it's Esopa, but that takes a lot of focus. That takes a lot of discipline. Is Esopa up to that? That's going to be what makes a champion, right?
Do you think his other deck would have been a better match for that?
It's crazy because we saw Esopa play against a deck that seemed like it had all the answers, and yet he beat it.
Yeah.
That deck seemed like it really had the answers. So the Skeleton Army was the MVP there for Flash because it stopped Goblin Barrel, Miner, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
All right, well, Flash again up 1-0. If he takes this next one, he has to win again. They have to win 3 times here in the finals, but if they do, $2,000.
Ooh, guards dropped in preparation for that Goblin Barrel coming down. And I mean,
it's worth mentioning, you could not have placed them on a more accurate square. Those guards actually hit 2 of the goblins instead of just 1 like they could have in a lot of other placements.
And this is why I'm saying if you're not going to mind game it, just let the goblins surround, because then you minimize the chances of that happening. Skeleton Army plus the Inferno Tower. That's going to be pretty solid. The log is going to clear out the Skeleton Army. The Inferno Tower has done its job.
Flash can't believe it.
Yeah, these players are playing really well. Their responses are lightning quick.
Yes.
If you have ever been in this situation, you know how fast you need to be to make sure you pull off defenses like this so cleanly.
Yeah, the Clash Royale North American Open really tests your deck building skills with the double deck format, but also your strategic planning of how to navigate the matchups between your decks, and of course your reaction speed. Rainey and I both love building decks and are very strategic. I don't think either of us have the reaction times to play at this level.
Definitely not, and I think this is a big opening for the crossbow.
That's it.
And it's locked onto the tower. Flash got connected on by a big Goblin Barrel. Actually, the zap is going to extend the lifeline just a little bit, and Esopa is still ahead.
He used the zap there along to freeze the Ice Spirit for a second so that the Mega Minion could actually clean it out instead of getting frozen. He needed the Mega Minion to hit that Expo because the longer, 2 seconds of freeze, that Expo is just going, right?
Yep. Yes, and we saw that too. In the replay.
Less than 250 damage separate these players, though, so it's certainly anyone's game.
He's trying to mind game on the corner, but there's no response, actually. And that's going to be Flash's, that's indication that Flash is going for offense entirely, right? When he opts to spend nothing on defense, that's him trying to gain an elixir advantage.
Princess just in time.
Oh,
I don't think that Princess, I think he would almost have rather had the Princess not lock onto the tower, or like have the Expo lock on and the Princess shoot it out. Because the Princess has so few hit points, it's not really tanking anything. Yeah.
There's and Zap is definitely not in cycle for Esopa. This might be a big loss for Esopa.
Esopa, so used to playing tempo decks, is really falling behind in the tempo of this game. He's just finding himself on the back foot. He's having to react to Flash's big moves as opposed to keeping Flash on the back foot with Princess and Goblin Barrel and all these other cards that are normally forcing reactions out of your opponent. 15 seconds though, could work. Oh, Fireball.
Nope. Fireball says no.
I think Esopa's going to get locked out of this match again. And really, I think it comes down to the fact that the Expo defense is something that Esopa has just to be a little more careful of. I think he has to respect it a little bit more.
Yeah. There we go. Flash now going up 2-0 against Esopa. He is one more game away from taking home that $2,000.
We've seen people come back in the past couple of days.
Right.
Yeah.
After being down 2. How
What happened in Coronation Day 1 there?
That's exactly
finals.
That's exactly what happened.
All 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
He came back 1-3 in a row.
Ender was down 2-0 and went win to lock it up.
How can Esopa do that?
Esopa, I think he might have to switch decks here. He's seen both decks now, and both decks, this Goblin Barrel thing hasn't gone very well
No.
for him. I think he might be better off switching decks, trying his luck, winning those two, and even if you have a bad matchup going into a critical game 5, at least you're in the critical game 5.
Right.
What I think is great about that too is now Esopa gets to switch it up. He knows the 2 decks, and now he also is going to know which deck that Flash has to continue to play.
Well, actually, no, because
No.
Flash can win with either deck.
He's right. He's only with one.
Flash
Or one
is,
each.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Flash
that's
has actually
right.
kind of maintained the mind games. He won
Oh,
one game
man.
with each.
Flash
so
is
Esopa
good
don't
mind
know what he's
game
going
position.
against.
Take
All right.
note. Mind game corner over there.
Mind game corner.
Yeah.
I think that's really smart. I mean, in the best of 5 finals, when you have 2 decks, you can choose which one you want to win twice with. Flash opted to play both his decks, and so now they both have 1 win stacked on. So it just becomes a question of like, which one
do I
will
wanna do?
pick?
First
Yeah.
time that's happened, actually, in the Coronation days, is both times in both 2 previous finals, player won with the preferred deck twice and then was forced to switch in order to win it.
All right now it is all on the line for Esopa.
Let's
He's
see if
got
Flash
to
can
win
do it.
every single game now. Flash just one away.
He's playing his Expo. You can tell right away from the Ice Golem that is the Expo deck.
Log kills the princess, but now there's no log for Skeleton Army. Uh-oh. And let's see how far the Skeleton Army can go.
Well, for the most part, they at least forced an exchange
Yes.
out. The Miner did a tiny bit of damage. The real danger is actually that Mega Minion that is still full health and coming back.
Yeah, I mean, these air interactions. Oh no, the Inferno Tower is not quite in range, and that
square
could be
away.
a big mistake, actually. That could end the game for Esopa. I mean, what more does he have? That crossbow is still at 60% health.
Get to his zap again. Get to his zap.
He's only got 3 elixir, and he's behind. Not only is he behind in damage, he was behind by 2 elixir. So even if Flash, had an answer he wanted to use, he could just get rid of that princess. Opted to just let the damage go through because, hey, it was almost 2,000. Why not?
Yeah. That hurts a lot for Esopa, and I think it might just be a little bit too much for him. Flash playing solidly in the finals could just earn the win here. Miner is going to tank for the goblins, and actually no, the positioning was wrong. And that's another reason why you want to make sure you push your Goblin Barrel outside of that kill zone, that area around the tower.
Those center expos are insane. Not only do they stop incoming pushes across the river, but the range is so wide they can cover really the back lines of anything. Miners don't really have a place to go with a center-placed expo like that. And of course, if Flash can cycle back to his expo, he can play a second one at the river with it being protected by the first one.
Mega Minion will come up and clean that expo up. Princess gets logged down. And I think it's just such a rough spot to have such a health deficit at this point in the game. Flash has been doing really well, kind of investing in the future. That Mega Minion that he dropped a long time ago is now contributing to this Expo push. Here comes a big Goblin Barrel. What's the answer? Logs.
Wow.
Perfect placement, and right now Flash's execution is top-notch.
Absolutely. I mean, this is we mentioned earlier in the pre-match thing when I picked Flash to win.
That's right.
That great players say Flash is a great player, and I think we're seeing that right here. His execution, his sequencing, his strategic planning is so good. We've seen predictive arrows, predictive fireballs land really well, and I think that's just Flash feeling so comfortable with the matchup, knowing it inside and out. And I think within 20 seconds, he might be able to close out this game. He's going to need a log and another fireball.
That's actually really interesting. The more Flash actually throws these fireballs to try to close the game, actually it could get really scary. Yeah, it could get really scary for him. Here comes, do you have log? I'm not sure. He's going for the win.
He's going for the win, but it was closer than it
That
looked.
was so close.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Flash is picking it up 3-0 against Esopa here in the finals, taking home $2,000 and that chance to move on to the arena battles. Congratulations.
Congrats. That was awesome. Talk a little bit about...
Winner!
Oh, yeah. You're also the winner.
It's all right. Your man
okay,
got to the
baby.
finals. My man was out in the round of 16, even before the
Yeah.
round 8, so you're good.
It's okay. He'll be back, right?
Let's take a look at the replay here for the Miner. Now, I hope this is the pre-thought out, the pre-fired Miner here.
That was great.
Against it is no, oh no,
No, it's
okay.
not. Miner Minion is a very basic push that was developed soon after the Miner got released, and for big reasons, right? The minions are tough to deal with, and with a Miner tanking for the minions, stopping the tower from taking them down, it all of a sudden becomes a dangerous push.
These expos are so tough to deal with. Like I said, in this game, you really wanted to see Esopa constantly keep the pressure on. Never actually get the 10 elixir, but every time you hit around 6, throw one of those Goblin Barrels, put a princess down, keep your opponent on their toes. Once a Flash was able to get an Expo down, it switched the tide of the game. Now Esopa had to react to Flash, and that's where those tempo decks are not nearly as strong.
All right.
Talk
I
a little
think-
bit. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's just really tough for Esopa because Flash's execution and strategy was on point. I think there were moments where, oh God, look at how much damage this
So
Expo is doing.
painful.
There
I
it
think there
goes,
were
there it
points
goes.
in time towards the end of this game, actually, that Esopa started playing really well, kind of playing one step ahead of Flash and keeping ahead of his spell usage. And that's really kind of the point of Esopa's deck in many ways, right? You need to be able to get ahead of their spell usage. As we saw very well in the semifinals, it was just tough to do that against Flash because he was so on it. He knew the options that he had to save, and he only released that option when he knew that he had the win. Perfect execution, and Flash takes the victory over Esopa.
Yeah.
There we go. Congratulations again to Flash for being our third Coronation Day champion. Let's go ahead, Rumham Rainey, pulling up the brackets here for the day. Just walk us through just kind of the story of the day, the clan battles, the Cold Wars, all of it.
Well, Flash walked to the finals, stepping over two clanmates on the way. Chief J, another member of TakeOver, defeats him, defeats Swoot, another member in the semifinals. He was the only remaining hope for TakeOver to win this, and they do. The clan score now goes TakeOver 2, Reddit Alpha 1, or
All right.
Reddit Charlie, I guess really the Reddit clan
Reddit 1,
Right.
yeah.
Esopa, really consistent player. I kind of expect him to come back. Rainey, what do you think he could have done different there?
I think that Esopa brought. Now, it's so hard to tell because I really actually like his Goblin Barrel deck. I think that it is. You always have to ask the question: it's executionally tough, right? What is the benefit that you gain from that? Obviously, for number one, not a lot of people see Goblin Barrel, so they're not going to know how to play against it.
That's a slight advantage.
But the thing is, you get to the finals and you get to the situation where he did with Flash, where now you have to play against a player who cannot just be taken by surprise, right? Flash is solid. Flash has good execution. He knows how to handle these
prepared.
situations. He's prepared. But I still think that there's a chance that that deck can really do well. The question is it too tough to do consistently, to execute consistently for it to be worth it? Is it worth the risk?
All right.
Okay. Well, not only is Flash taking home $2,000 in his trip to go to the Crown Duels, but his name will be remembered throughout Clash
Yeah,
history.
forever. Literally.
Flash,
It's the internet.
Clash.
Nothing leaves.
It's perfect.
And again, if you guys, if the 16 players, 16 winners will go from here to the arena battles, where then it'll be whittled down just to 8 players to go into the Crown Duels, where first place is taking home $15,000 out of a total.
Super awesome trip.
That's right, of a $100,000 prize pool. So again, congratulations for now Flash being our third winner. If you guys want to, participate and be a part of this, because again, we still have 13 more. Man, that was easy math and I failed it.
Yeah.
You're the looks.
So
You
true.
know, Rainey's
You're
the brains.
seeing the weakness.
Clash Royale Open.
We balance each other out. We have 13 more of these. Go over to ClashRoyaleOpen.com where you can sign up to be a part of these as well. Open qualifiers, again, over 500,000 people are coming in to join these events. Speaking of our next broadcast, it is happening tomorrow, Thursday the 27th, same time, 6 o'clock p.m. Do not miss it. And if you're part of it, best of luck to you guys.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of everyone here at the super magical, oh my gosh, I almost plugged your thing. That's all done. On behalf of
It's Supercell.
again, the
That's
brand.
I think that's what you wanted to go with.
Definitely.
Clash Royale North American Opens broadcasted here at the NG Studios in Burbank, California. That is Rumham and Rainey.
I'm Ella.
I'm Christian.
Have a most ridiculous night.
You know, the secret is
Yeah.
I'm not actually the